Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable business intermediaries and brokers from across the country. Joining me on this segment is Philip Wolfstein. He's with Zoom Business Brokers. Phil, welcome to the program.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much, Mark.
Phil, tell us a little bit about your work and tell us specifically who are the types of clients that you specialize in working with and helping?
Sure. I'm a certified business broker here in California with Zoom Business Brokers. There's hundreds of business brokers in California. Last count, there were 57 certified business brokers in California. And what I do, the short version, is I help business owners find qualified buyers for their business. And there's a lot that said. There's a lot that goes into helping business owners, entrepreneurs, starting with planning, with some type of an exit strategy, preparing to sell your business, and then taking it to market, which is what I do, which is the listing, marketing, working with buyers, vetting those buyers through due diligence, conditions, release, and escrow. We'll talk about that in a little briefly in a little while. But taking that to a successful close of escrow is a process. And I like to say a lot of people think that selling a business is an event. It's not. And it's a life-changing experience. It's one of those occurrences in life, whether it's graduating from college, getting married, having children. It's of that magnitude for the businesses that I work with, which are typically $500,000 in sales to $15 million in sales with 3 to 50 employees. That's the space that I'm in. I think the other question that you asked is who we work with. I very often, frequently work with teams as part of a team with commercial realtors, with financial advisors, business advisors, CPAs, people that generally provide professional services and work with business owners, helping them prepare and get ready to get their businesses ready to sell.
So these folks that are running businesses year in, year out, thinking growth, 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 is sales an afterthought? Like, how prepared are they, and do many of them even know where to start when it comes to selling their business?
Yeah, there's business, entrepreneurs and business owners as a group. They're go-getters. I mean, so they're typically very focused and good on increasing their business and their sales and doing what they do best. I think the answer to your question is most business owners, no, they don't think about transitioning or selling their business. Last count, I heard the number was about 80% or more have never really looked at succession planning or thought about how am I going to sell the business. They just assume at some point that that'll take care of itself, or maybe transition, inter-family transfer and sell. But that's something that needs to change. I think the baby boom generation is going to be looking more and more into, those business owners are going to be looking more and more into what do I need to do? How do I do it? And that always starts with a broker opinion of value. And to answer the question, what's my business worth? And are there buyers for my business?
The inspiration of the series is really to shine a light on the values of working with the business intermediary and helping and sell a business. So let's unpack that a little bit. Tell us, what are the most common, say, misconceptions? Are there any preconceived notions that business owners have out there, like thinking that selling a business is like selling a house? What's on their mind when they don't really know that the services of a business intermediary even exist?
Having been a small business owner for many years myself, more than 25 years in the import-export trading business, and an entrepreneur, I think a lot of times you just don't focus on the day when you're going to sell or exit the business. For the most part, owners, operators are too busy doing their business, running their business, and don't really give a thought to it. I think the biggest challenge for business brokers is just making people aware that there are professionals that can help them address and get through the process of preparing, marketing, and selling the business. When I say preparing, I work with business coaches and business advisors. If the business is not yet ready to go to market, that's not what I do. I'm part of that team where when the business is ready to go to market, then it's handed off to me in order to market and move it forward through the sales process. I think it's something that we need to get the word out better, that there's professional help. And when you get around to thinking about how am I going to sell my business? What's my business worth? Um, I'm I would be a good starting point, a contact point for somebody who wants to answer that question. What's my business worth? And that almost always highlights what aspects, areas of the business need to be focused on to get the best and highest value, or depending on the situation and the motivation for selling, uh, to get the business prepared in the best way possible to go to market to get the best price.
I read a statistic recently that over 50%, maybe as high as 80% of businesses that are ill prepared to sell actually go unsold. Tell us, like, what's the biggest breakdowns that you find causes a business not to sell?
Boy, what a great question, and that's true. I'm a little different than most business brokers. My focus, my closing rate, well, through COVID is down a little bit, but between 70 and 80% of the businesses that I list actually close escrow. The average is somewhere about 25%. So I think you're close as, maybe 4 out of 5 businesses that list don't actually sell and close escrow, and there's a variety of reasons. The two biggest reasons used to be pre-COVID. I would say the two biggest reasons would have been books and records, number one, and secondly, landlord related issues for the businesses in the segment that I work in. Everybody has a great relationship with their landlord, and they love me, and they're great guys. When it comes down to negotiating a lease assumption or a new long-term lease for a qualified buyer, that very often can become a significant barrier to actually getting the deal done. Um, Especially if rents are under market, or the landlord's looking to raise the rents, that sort of thing. These days, it's changed, and it's through COVID. Very interesting that if you ask me today, what are the two key reasons? Books and records, just financial clarity and making sure that the books and records are correct and accurate is still very important. But the issue of the Great Resignation, and the value of finding the right talent and experienced people, compensation and retention have become a very key issue for buyers. And post close, once the business is acquired, of course, you want to be assured of continuity of cash flow and business operations in order to get that in to assure your stability and future growth. And so the employees have become an increasingly important aspect of the sales and businesses that I'm involved with. So those are the two reasons why it falls off track. If you're not transparent and clarity, if the books and records aren't clear, there's something that comes up after a letter of intent or a purchase agreement, stock agreement is signed, that can become an issue. And key employees being able to make sure that you have the right personnel, the right commitment from the employees in that business to continue with the business post sale is a very important factor right now.
So, speaking of COVID, as you mentioned, we're coming out of a pandemic now, and even though that's triggering a lot of business owners to sell their businesses finally, they're also wondering, is it a good time to sell? What's the economy been like for you? Is there money in the marketplace? Are there buyers out there? What's it been like recently selling a business? Is it a good opportunity today?
I think it's a great time to sell. Yeah, I think you have almost like the perfect storm, which is, of course, we got the baby boom generation that is moving closer to retirement faster than maybe would have been anticipated. But there's still a shortage of good, profitable, well-run, profitable businesses for relative to the demand that's out there. I would say it's still a seller's market, and that was recently borne out in the recent surveys and data reports that have come out. I would say it's still a seller's market, and multiples are steady to slightly higher, particularly in manufacturing. That said, it's the expectation is certainly with higher interest rates now, on top of COVID, on top of the Great Resignation and labor issues and supply chain issues. I think you're going to see a lot more well-run businesses that are going to be coming to market here over the next through the end of 22 and into 23. So like supply and demand, I think you're going to see a lot more businesses come into the market. And for that reason, that it's still a seller's market now, may shift to a buyer's market mid 23, 24, in my opinion. But right now, strong buyer interest in almost all segments. financing and liquidity, the available money, and interest rates are still very attractive. SBA 7A loans and 504 loans are available. So there's, I think, great timing on the part of sellers still to come to market. And of course, a lot of buyers, especially we're seeing more and more millennials, but a lot of buyers are looking to buy a job and make the transition from large corporate America, or from that, I guess the large business environment, to running their own business, and the American tradition of being an entrepreneur and running the business. So good demand, good sellers market, available financing. That's a good combination for going to market now rather than waiting another 2 years or 3 years.
Great insight. Phil, what inspired you to become a business broker? Like, how did you get started in the field?
That's a funny question. I was an independent trading. I was in the trading business, a protein trading business for many years with my own company. 2001 and 2, I transitioned into business consulting and business development, mainly because at that time I was doing red meat exports, and mad cow disease, which was a total embargo to all markets globally, is a pretty hard barrier to overcome. And I always had a passion for real estate and enjoyed buying and selling real estate personally. And I decided to go get my license, back about 9 years ago now, and really focus on that. And found myself with trying to sell residential real estate or commercial real estate. Wasn't really a great fit for me, because I felt like I wasn't the 20-something with a Ferrari, and I wasn't a 25-year veteran with a book of business and referrals. And I got introduced to business brokering, and it's a unique business in that it's one of the few areas where your age and your experience and expertise really works for you. There's no glass ceiling. If you're looking to sell and market your business, you want to have somebody who has some depth, experience, and knowledge, and certainly compassion for what the importance of that process is, and sort of have that 10,000-foot view of how do you get from here to there? What's the structure? And it's a very emotional, to sell the business is a big decision. It's an emotional decision and a very important financial decision. And I think with a sort of a senior view, looking at that process is important. I think helping the business owner and entrepreneur to get through that with his family and with his employees and vendors and customers. So I'm very passionate about it. And I just found that once I got into business brokering and I saw what I could bring to the table, didn't look back. So I made that jump.
Phil, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share with a business owner that's considering selling in today's economy?
Sure. Yeah, that's a very important question. And the answer is, if not now, when? Start thinking about it, no matter what. Even if your exit strategy is 5 years out, you're not sure if it's going to be an interfamily transfer, you're going to sell to a partner, or you're just going to take your business to market. Don't assume that there's just going to be a buyer there waiting to grab up and snap up your business, or that your local competitor may look to acquire the business. That's not a good approach. A much better approach is to start now. And even if you're not ready, if your books and records aren't in order, if you don't know what the value of the business is, you don't know, are there any buyers for my business? You can easily start out that process by contacting me or another professional business broker in your area. But I would get that initial advice, sort of like when you go to the doctor and get a physical to find out what's your baseline, right? What's my business worth? And that almost always will highlight where you want to focus your efforts and concentration. Do you need to work with a business advisor or coach or wealth advisor or tax advisor, so that you can prepare yourself for that very important decision today when you say, I want to sell my business or have to sell the business? And I'm happy to work you through that process. That's what I do. That's what Zoom Business Broker does. And we want people to know there are professional business brokers there for that assistance and service.
For business owners listening who would love to meet you and perhaps get your help, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Sure. Well, I'm online. Check me out on LinkedIn. It's Phil Wolfstein. I'm a certified business broker. My phone number is 310-663-2180. Email address is Phil, PHIL.Wolfstein, WOLFSTEIN @ZBBCORP.com, ZoomBusinessBrokersCorp.com. and happy to respond, get back to with you, and no charge. Introductory call. Happy to see what assistance I can provide or information I can provide if you're thinking about finding out the value of your business or selling your business.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Mark, wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
That was Phil Wolfstein with Zoom Business Brokers, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.